Bronson Manchester studied the facial features of the dead man stretched out in front of him. Not for the first time. The divers had gone down to recover the body, now floating on the surface of the water, and brought him back up to the boat. Their scuba instructor, Marshall, had cried out, "Dear God! That's Jason Rancher! He's a regular diver around here, almost a local at this point." "Yeah, well, I presume he didn't usually dive with a knife in his back," Bronson noted, his tone caustic, as he pointed out the obvious weapon. Marshall shook his head, obviously disturbed. "Presumably he had enemies, given the way he ended up," Bronson added. "I thought people liked him," Marshall noted. "He seemed to relate with the tourists." "Not everybody," Bronson stated quietly, "or he wouldn't be sporting that weapon." With a nod of his head, the instructor turned away from the body. "We need to bring in the authorities." "Yeah, I presume he wasn't part of your instructor group," Bronson said. Marshall shook his head. "He was at one time, but hasn't been for a couple years. He became too unreliable, and there was some trouble, and it just wasn't working anymore." "Interesting. What does he do for a living now, then?" "I don't know," Marshall replied, "but like a lot of people around here, he manages." As they got closer to shore, they heard a shout. Marshall looked up and frowned. "Uh-oh, now we'll have trouble." "Why's that?" Bronson asked. "It's his sister, his much younger sister. A lot of years between them, and they seem like they're pretty close. Instead of Big Brother looking out after her, she seemed to be watching out for Jason. That won't go well." "These things will always be hard," Bronson noted, his tone low. "Loss isn't easy on anybody, and murder multiplies that." "And on her it will be even worse," Marshall added. "It was just the two of them." Bronson nodded as he studied the woman approaching. Long-legged, lean, and wearing a dress that flowed around her ankles, her hair was flying up behind her. "She looks a little familiar." "She's a dive instructor too," he stated, "and a really popular one at that." The wry tone of his voice suggested something about her popularity, maybe because she was pretty. The fact was, she was beautiful, stunning. "Military as well?" "Yes, but that's because she specializes in certain types of equipment," he explained, "especially testing them. Research of some sort." "Interesting. She looks young for it." "She is young for it," he confirmed, "yet she's damn good at her job. She was born in the water, quite literally." Bronson continued to watch her, as Marshall nodded. Both of her parents were instructors, and they worked for a private company for a long time, doing exploration and mapping of the ocean floor. She headed into the same field. Unfortunately, her brother, Jason here, has had some issues lately. He related, looking down at the dead man. So she took some time away to spend it with him. "What kind of issues?" Bronson asked, intrigued, considering Jason had obviously been murdered. "He was a drunk," Marshall stated, "although I really don't want to be telling tales." "He is clearly the victim of foul play, so any tales you want to tell, it's just that he was struggling. I mean, it will be an issue for the local authorities, of course," Marshall murmured, "but I can tell you that he went a little bit off the rails when his wife died." "That'll do it," Bronson noted sympathetically. "Jason swears she was murdered," Marshall added in a quiet tone, shaking his head. "That's why his sister came to join him." As he looked overboard, the woman waded toward them. "Robin, wait!" he called out. She glared at him. "Is that my brother?" He nodded slowly, and immediately grief churned her features. "Damn it! What the hell happened?" she demanded. Bronson hopped into the water and walked toward her. "Hey, I found him down below on a dive. We were doing a training session." She looked at him and nodded slowly. "That makes sense. Did he have all his gear with him?" He hesitated. "No mask, no regulator. It wasn't an accident." She stared at him for a long moment, not comprehending. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice going faint. "I mean that he was stabbed," Bronson murmured. "I'm pretty sure he would have died from the injury alone, long before he ran out of oxygen." She stared at Bronson in shock, then turned to the boat. "Jesus, Jason." "So he's your brother?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, I came here to spend some time with him." "You're a dive instructor, I hear." "Among other things," she replied with a wave of her hand. "Please don't go on about how young I am for it.